The good part about being Super Bowl champions is obviously this Eagles roster is very good. They have a great quarterback situation. You can make the argument they have the best team in the NFC, but that doesn't mean they're a perfect team. And through the first 7 practices at training camp, I think 3 areas are clearly the biggest issues on this team. Now, the first one is backup offensive line. Spoken about this before, but, backup guard is an issue for them. They have Vaitai at tackle if someone were to go down, but I think they need to maybe trade for a backup offensive lineman that has experience swinging back and forth between guard and tackle. Maybe a better option at center, backup center than Stefan Wisniewski, who's your starting guard. But I think backup offensive line is the biggest issue on this team. Another issue they have, the number 2 biggest issue, a lot of question marks at linebacker. Now, they have some potential there. Camus Grugier-Hill has looked really good. I think Nate Geary, coming off a year of learning the position, could be an improved player. But you did lose Michael Kendricks, who, for better or worse, had a ton of experience and was very athletic and pretty good in coverage, better in coverage than he was given credit for. So I think that although there's some pieces there, and then you add in the health of Jordan Hicks, but there's just a lot of questions at linebacker. And that would be my concern if I'm the Eagles. Yes, there is potential, but if Hicks were to go down or Bradham were to go down, all of a sudden you're really facing a lot of question marks there in terms of a team that's ready to win now. Can they trust some of these linebackers to go in right away and contribute? And the third biggest issue, kind of like the linebacker position in the way that there's potential, but a lot of questions, and that's the nickel cornerback. Now, look, I know Sidney Jones has the potential to be an elite corner, and I know he would have been a top 10 pick if not for that Achilles injury. But he's never played in the NFL, any meaningful snaps at least. He's never played nickel, and right now it seems like that's their plan. Now, I ultimately think Jalen Mills might go in there, and Jones will go on the outside. But you still have 2 guys that never played the position. Now, last year, Patrick Robinson, probably the Eagles' best cornerback in terms of just level of play. I think Jalen Mills was their most important corner, but Patrick Robinson was probably the best performing corner on the roster last year. He's gone, and he got paid by the Saints. So I think that, just counting on Mills to step in there and do it, or just assuming Jones will be able to do it. I'm not saying they won't, but I do think it's a question mark, and it's probably the biggest weak spot on the defense because, yeah, it's a third cornerback spot, but it's basically a starter. The Eagles really play 2 linebackers and 3 corners the majority of the time. I mean, I think the third corner played over 700 snaps last year. So whoever that nickel corner is, whether it's Mills or Jones, I think it's fair to be skeptical as to whether or not they can do it. So after a week of camp, I think those are the 3 biggest concerns with the Eagles. 1, you have the backup offensive line issues. 2, the question marks at backup linebacker. And then 3, who's going to be your starting nickel. So, again, these aren't issues at quarterback. These aren't you have no offensive line. But they are still issues. And last year, the Eagles showed that depth is important, as is your nickel corner. And these are all issues that the Eagles still have heading into this season.